I wanted to show you a couple of free synths that you can get online. Now, it's from a company called Yuhi, and they make some fantastic stuff. I'll show you some of their paid stuff as well, but I thought it'd be good to look at some of the free synths. Now, you might wonder why you'd want a free synth, because you've got a DAW, and it comes with synths and things like that. So I think the main reason would be just to obviously expand your sound palette, and also if you've got, say, Cubase Elements or a light version of, say, Ableton or something like that, and you want to expand on, because they give you quite a limited amount of sort of sounds in their synths and stuff. They do give you some stuff. So like in Cubase Elements, you get a cool sort of Rompler synth that will give you your piano sounds and your bread and butter sounds, but what it lacks on is those sort of EDM-y sounds and your pads, things like that. So the cool sounds. So in Cubase, the Pro version, you've got Retrolog and things like that, which are cool, but these two synths I'm going to show you are really good, and they've got some great sounds in there. So it doesn't matter if you're on the Pro version of Cubase or whatever DAW you're using, but especially if you've got Elements or something like that, so more a lighter version of the software, whichever DAW it may be, these are really cool, really cool. So if I show you the website first, here you go, it's Yuhi. They make a synth called Zebra, which loads of people use, loads of pros use, and Diva. That's another one that comes up, and there is another one that I've forgotten, but they make some really cool synths and stuff, so we'll have a look through. But once you go to the site, so it's yuhi.com, you can see here, I've got it on there, and go to their products. It'll take you to their product page, and you can see some of the synths look really cool. I've seen loads of people using these two. It's fantastic. And Hive, that was the one I forgot. Hive, yeah, that's a cool synth. Now, but if we go down to the free synths, we got Zebraletti and Podolsky as well. These are the two that I've just downloaded. Now, when you go to the download, I'll show you that first, but I'm on Windows, but you've got the choice of Mac or Windows for those two. There's others as well that are worth looking at. One of the ones they do, this Zebra CM, is really cool as well, but you have to get Computer Music, the subscription, or go to W.H. Smith's or one of the news agents, or buy it online, and you can actually, you'll get a DVD or a download link, I think it is now. I think it wasn't that long ago they were doing DVDs. Anyway, that's worth getting as well. In fact, Computer Music do a whole load of different effects and VSTs. So, okay, so we've been to the site. I've gone to the download. Now, if I was going to go to the folder, so I've just clicked on the zip folder itself, and I'll click on the installer. I won't extract it. I'm just going to run it from there. The one thing it asks for is, I'll show you, when it has, okay, I'm going to go next on here, and I accept their agreement. Obviously, we've got 32-bit plugins. I'm not interested in those because I'm running a 64-bit computer. Most computers that have been within the last 5 years, chances are it'll be 64-bit. I'm sure it will be. So, and I'm really only interested in these the VSTs, because Cubase runs on VST, and I've gone for presets as well, so I'm just going to click next on that, but I won't because I've already done it. But then it will guide you through. Oh, in fact, yes, I will, because this is the bit that may be a slight sticking point. It's got a directory and a place to put the actual DLL file, the plugin itself. So because both these synths are quite small, they're not massive files. So if you go to, say, Native Instruments and get some of their instruments, like the orchestral stuff, it might have gigabytes and gigs of actual content. So therefore, it might be worth sticking them on another drive. I've done on my laptop, I've stuck them on my D drive, the content, but the actual plugin itself, I've kept on the C drive in my plugins folder. It'll still find the file path and it'll still use it. It's just a way of, not bloating out your C drive full of stuff. So, but both these programs are pretty small. So what I've done, I've chosen the C drive as my directory, and it's the VST plugins folder. So wherever you keep your plugins, or if you don't know where you keep your plugins, you can browse and you'll be able to see. It's usually if you're on a PC, it's a C drive, and you'll actually see it says VST plugins in Cubase. You can stick it in there, but it doesn't actually matter. What Cubase does is a scan. I'm just going to get rid of this a second. When it loads up on its installation, it'll actually scan through all and find new plugins. If it doesn't do that, you can actually get it in Studio and VST plugins and scan for them. In fact, that might be a good video for the future. We'll perhaps do that as the next video. Okay, so I've loaded Cubase up, and it found it automatically for me. So it found the two plugins. So all I've got here is some really basic chords, just the root and the third of two chords here on a loop. And this is something that we did from a video before. But if I play that, we've got no sound at all because it needs a VST synth or instrument to actually trigger. So there's a couple of ways of getting these. Here you can see on the left-hand side zone, I can actually click here on my output of the MIDI, and I can choose them here. And the good thing about UHE plugins as well, actually makes its own little plugin folder, so it's quite cool and easy to find. So these are the two we're going to be looking at. The other way of getting it, if you do F11 on your keypad, and where it says no instrument, again, I can click down and click on one. And there you go. So I've just double clicked on Podolsky, and there he is. Now, slight problem, there's no keypad here. There's no keyboard, sorry, computer keyboard. So you could load up the keyboard in Cubase, or, well, I don't have to here, but because I've got the information here. But if you wanted to do that, you can do that. You can actually get that. It's that on-screen keyboard. So you've got it in Studio, on-screen keyboard, and, oh yes, sorry, as well, Alt-K if you want to do a shortcut. And you can actually audition the sounds as they go. But I don't have to worry about that because I've actually made the MIDI information here already. Not the most inspiring sound, but it'll be fine for what we're looking at. Okay, so once we've loaded him up, I've got some MIDI information, or you're using the on-screen keyboard, or perhaps you've got a USB actual music keyboard, which is even better. Okay, first thing I would do, if you're new to synthesis, look at the presets and look how they work. So if I go to our lead sounds that it's given us here, and perhaps try the dance lead, and you can just click on anything and audition them and go through. So once I found one that I think, yeah, that's pretty good, I'm happy with that, you can then go into the synthesis section and look how the synth works. Now, I'm not going to go into much depth on synthesis at the moment, but what would be worth looking at if you're new to synthesis is the oscillator here. Now, this is based on a sawtooth oscillation, but you can actually change the actual waveform and make it more kind of sine wavy, I suppose, and then more peaky. You've got loads of things to try out here, like LFOs and stuff, and again, we'll look at this in much more detail. You've got the amplifier section, panning to left and right, delay. You can sync the delay to your DAW to work like you would a normal effect delay, which we can look at. Chorus flanger, the filters, which can be cool. Do you remember we looked at automation, and we changed the cutoff filter and automated it using the read and write? And you've got that still in. So most synths will have a cutoff filter, and resonance is pretty cool as well. Okay, so the other thing to perhaps look at as well, if you're completely new to it, is how Adsr works. That's attack, decay, sustain, and release. And these are the main ones here: attack, decay, sustain, and release. Attack's how quickly it comes in. So actually the sound will... So if you want the sound to ramp up, or you want a really fast attack, decay is the time it takes from the peak of the attack to run down to the sustain, and the sustain is the sound as it carries on when you've got the key down, and then the release is how quickly it takes once you take that key off, so how quickly the sound actually goes. So that's ADSR. We'll look at that in much more detail. Sorry, I probably just literally just touched the surface of that, but it's worth just experimenting to see how it sounds. Okay. The other things that are cool so we've got the presets, the synthesis section, and then you've got this arpeggiator section as well. Now, to start using the arpeggiator section, what you have to do, obviously you could go to presets and go to the, have we got arpeggiators there? I think they are. They are there. Oh yeah, there we go. Sequences and arpeggiators, arpeggiators. But if you wanted to actually get this arpeggiator working, under the synth section, so you found a sound that hasn't got an arpeggiator on, under this this mode here, which again is worth really looking through this. We'll explain these, but if you just drop down to the arpeggiator section, and there it's triggering my arpeggiator there. Now, in that arpeggiator, that was going quite slowly, but you can actually, you'll see you can go to 1/8, 1/16, so if you want to change those. So you want it to work at 16ths or 1/8 notes. And you can, there's all sorts of things you can do in this. So it's, again, experiment with it. And then once you're on the arpeggiator side, you can change the lengths. Anything you want. So it's on semi-quavers, gone to quavers there. You can change the gate to make... So come up with something that's completely original with that. And of course you've got the effects still, so you've got the effects to change the sound. So that's Podolsky, and that, I think it's a great synth, and the fact that it's free is awesome. So if you've got something like Cubase Elements, it's a no-brainer really to get something like that, and you can get some wicked sounds. And while I was there on their site, I grabbed Zebraletti as well. Let me discard that. And again, oh yeah, really quickly, I did that probably a bit quick there. Again, on the left-hand side, I just changed the synth over. You could do it again here, so F11, you can change it there, but it's just easy on that left-hand side zone. So, here's our new synth. And again, what I would do with this, we'll look at this in much more detail, but once you've downloaded them, have an experiment, and then perhaps next week I'll do another video and we'll go into more depth of each section on this. But I would suggest for this week, have a look, again, just go through the presets of it and have a look, because you'll probably find something. I just loaded this up and had a quick look through, and some of the stuff was cool. And then once you've found something you quite like, obviously you can go through and we can change all of the waveform and things like that. So it's a cool synth, and the fact, again, that this is free, it's great. You know, just get some MIDI going and have an experiment. I will we'll go into the oscillators and stuff and how all of this works in more detail in another video. But for the meantime, if you could get those two synths, try and get some MIDI triggering and just experiment with them, see what you think of them. But I think considering they're free, it's definitely worth a go. Okay, good luck.